Let's come to an understanding. 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 Let's come to an understanding.
Let's come to an understanding.
We are live.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, we're back. It's the 29th of January.
Oh my God, a month out.
2020. Almost done the first month of the new decade
Yeah,
of the 20s. The impeachment is currently happening as we speak.
as we
People in Washington
speak, live on YouTube.
are making their arguments about whether or not or why Donald Trump should be removed from office. Amish, you've been following, yeah?
Little bit. I always find these because I tell people like when people ask me about sports, I'm like, no, the politics is my sports. So I could just watch something like that for an hour or two because everything to me just looks like a boxing match. They're all trying to get at each other legally, and
You like Court TV. You watch Court TV instead of ESPN.
Hey man, I don't watch Court TV. I just watch this stuff. It's Court TV. C-SPAN is Court TV for me,
Okay.
and it's Raptors for me.
That's the Raptors for you.
I mean, that's the real Raptors. The Raptors is a metaphor. That's the real fight. That's the real,
That's what's really okay.
That's what matters. Like to me, the like basketball is a pretend game. Like you're just taking a ball and putting it through a hoop. It's all made up. Sports, if you're not into it, I mean, you're obviously into sport. For me, I'm not into sports.
I'm not huge into sports.
It's
I'm
all
not
made
huge
up
into
to
sports.
me. It's all just to make it up.
I'm not huge
You
into
take
sports.
this ball across this line, you get 3 points, and then you're grown-ups. It's a game.
You mean like there's no larger cultural impact after the game's done?
No, there is a larger cultural impact
helps,
for sure.
It helps the Toronto's economy was boosted by the fact that the Raptors went all the way and won the championship.
Sure,
last year.
it boosts the economy, but ultimately, as a culture, I sometimes wonder, like, what's the overall impact of, like, let's say the NFL, if you include NCAA. I don't see what the positive. It's hard to see when you see the full impact of it. When you see that, like, these kids are like giving each other concussions. I guess not in basketball so as much the concussions, but even the way they're treated through the NCAA, like the fact that that's the way to get through.
Well, they've been changing that. They're going to start allowing them to be paid or makes a little bit of money.
Paid by Nike and stuff. Like the side companies can pay them, I think. I think that's what they're changing NCAA.
Yeah.
Man, that's oppression.
What do you mean?
How can you tell a kid you're not allowed to take money from Nike? In what right?
Right, so they're changing it now.
They're changing it now, but I'm just saying, like,
because the schools have been making money off their likeness for so long. Some people think it will corrupt the sport and that it'll make it a little uneven. And then
bullshit. They're full of shit.
More
Those people are colonized. It's like slavery. It's not literally, but I mean, it's like we have this thing and you're gonna work for free. And like, I don't want anyone pay. They basically don't want people paying them because they want full control over the kids. Basically. I don't think that's a conspiracy theory.
Well,
I think they've said that too. Like
No. I think the reason why they didn't want them paid or anything like that is because that way they can still attract talent to their schools without any kind of financial incentives or whatever. Because like say you were in a bigger market or something like that, or there's more fans coming out, or this school's more likely to get on to TV and stuff like that.
Okay.
Maybe someone's gonna go to a different school because an endorsement deal is going to go for them. Like once you get money involved, a whole bunch of new problems crop up. But I do think that they should be paid because at the same time, it's like you're going to give someone a scholarship, but then, they're kind of giving their body over to the team. They're giving their body over to the school. The school's making a lot of money off of them. And
you're not going to pay them. At least let the third-party company pay them.
They might not make it to the NBA.
There's like
NFL,
a 95% chance they're not going to make it.
Baseball,
they're not going to make
it. After,
They're mostly not going to make it. It's so
mostly
sad.
Not, yeah.
They're mostly not going to make it. It's so sad. And any documentaries about it, I'm just like, okay, this is so dumb. Especially the fact that in American football they actually hit each other. It's like, you know how Europe does football? They're just like.
You mean soccer?
Soccer, yeah. That's how football should be.
You know how Europe does football? It's actually called soccer, and it's not. It's a different game.
We call it soccer. It's a light, fun, happy game. And if they touch each other, they fall. They're like, oh, my God, what are you, an animal? Like, they won't even touch each other. And these Americans, because they can't do anything without trying to kill each other.
Well, they do.
They have to do
like, trip each other, and they, like, kick each other in the
come
shin.
on. That's all acting. That's all pretendies over there.
No, I wouldn't.
They get hit.
No,
That's like a
that's
little
not
nudge,
true.
and then the guy does a dance. It's almost like a little part of their game.
Sometimes
It's the acting.
sometimes they like.
You have to do some
sometimes
acting.
they play it up a bit. Yeah, definitely.
That's how more like just feminine and nice it is. That you have to be a good actor too to be a soccer player. You got to be able to.
You think it's
that's
a nice
part of the game.
You think it's a nice feminine sport?
It's better than concussions. It's better than like
Yeah,
trying to
but that's
murder
like
each other.
football. Like you're talking about football
Yeah.
or boxing.
Boxing too.
Where you're literally getting punched in the head, which is played in Europe as well. People like boxing in Europe.
That's true, but
It's loved around the world.
we're talking about billions of dollars going into like a main sport. Like American football is just so rough. It just seems
It's
so damaging for
brutality.
the culture. It's brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah, 100%.
They're savages. They're Romans. The Americans. The Americans are like they're more violent than us, right? Do you feel that?
No, not necessarily. I mean, that's such a blanket statement.
They all gotta have guns.
Not all. Like half the country doesn't want guns.
You were just in Vermont. You had it. You enjoyed it.
In
You want to go
Vermont?
over there. That's why you want to. I get it, man. You're gonna be.
I'm going back tomorrow.
You're
We're
going
in
back tomorrow.
California.
I know you love it. It's fine.
I was
It's
in
fine.
Vermont. Yeah, I was in Vermont a couple days ago. It was nice. I
Fun.
saw the. But wait, we're talking about impeachment. We are talking about America, but we're talking about impeachment. We got off on the sports now.
Hey, I was talking about sports because
You-
to me, the real sports is the politics. But anyway, yeah, let's get into it. Impeachment.
Well, because you've been reading again,
Yeah.
so you did these psychedelic. What would you call them? Psychedelic journeys or spiritual trips or what?
Let's just say I went on some I went some spiritual journeys with some sacred medicine, and
Okay.
I had a Baba too there to guide. It's very modern.
But you're in a different place, kind of like in your approach towards reading. Now,
I've been reading and writing very quickly after.
it's almost like phonics now. It's like you've gone through an intensive phonics.
It's like I could be on the Hooked on Phonics commercial.
You
I'd
should
like,
be.
Hooked on Phonics worked for me. I can do it.
Yeah, but except you can't really promote it to kids because your way of reaching it is a little bit unorthodox.
Oh, you don't approve?
Of kids going through the same methods that
No,
you
nah,
went
not
through.
kids, but
I don't think
but
so,
adults.
no.
What do you think of adults?
Yeah, sure.
Because you sent me a documentary about it.
I did.
Gwyneth Paltrow documentary.
Oh well, that's not. Well, yeah, I sent you that, but that's. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it, but impeachment, Amish, impeachment.
Okay, yeah, let's
Come
let's
on.
do the impeachment. Let's do it.
What did you want to know? Did you have questions about impeachment? Have you been following it?
I've been following it a little, but why don't we do like an impeachment catch-up for the people, for the Let's Come to an Understanding community? Let's let them know.
So what don't you know? What do you want to know?
Okay, so
Because I think we're working. We've kind of analyzed our dynamic. Is that I was the one who reads, but now you're reading.
what is
So-
this, a test? You testing me?
I'm not testing you. I'm just
You
saying.
testing me?
No, I'm not testing you. Why are you getting
Look,
so
if I could,
defensive?
okay, well, hey,
Why are
look,
you
if
getting
we're
so
doing
defensive?
we're doing a reading test.
I'm
Okay,
just
hey,
saying-
Hooked on Phonics worked for me. I didn't read
You're
too much
reading
about.
now.
I read the New Yorker article about the Gwyneth Paltrow thing, but if you want to do impeachment, I can tell you what I know, and then you can go into like the real, because I know you're
Okay.
following it.
Well, no.
I know
I'm
the whole
just.
thing to be like, okay, what do you know about the
It's-
impeachment? I
Well,
love
no,
it.
just what did you want to know? Because
Okay, I didn't know we were doing a
where are
pop
you
quiz,
at?
but I'll tell. I
We're
didn't
not
know we were
doing
doing a pop quiz, but I'll tell you. Okay, so basically, yeah. So I think the Congress has impeached him, but the Senate has to convict still. Is that where? That's pretty much where it's at. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like just told you that
That's it.
before we started recording. Okay.
Well, no, I
Okay.
read that.
Oh, you
okay?
read that.
I
Okay.
read that.
Were you reading my lips as I was telling it to you? Is that how you read it? You were reading my lips. Okay.
We watched a bit of it too.
Well,
But yeah, no, you did say that. That's
yeah.
great.
So that's true. So Congress has impeached the president,
hmm
and now the Senate has to convict and remove for him to be taken out of office. But it's unlikely that will happen because you need a 2/3 majority,
Mhm.
and
You did the numbers on this, right? You got the.
it's a 2/3 majority, and the Republicans currently control Congress or the Senate. Sorry,
The Senate, but
which is upper Congress, the upper house.
what's the numbers exactly? They need 2/3 of the Senate to win to impeach him.
Yeah.
The Democrats are basically 4, except for 3. You were saying all the Democrats are like 4 impeachment, except for 3 of them are saying they might not.
Well,
go.
there's 3 senators that are in swing states, or not even swing states. Even some of them are in like Republican states.
Are their votes public? Of course.
Yeah, of course. What do you mean? How they can do private votes with the Senate?
You got it,
You're
man.
representing the people.
With someone like this, a private vote, he'd be out. Half of his guys wouldn't vote for him. They're all scared of him. His
No.
guys are scared of him.
But you can't. But the Senate. But it's like a public
I know you
record. It's a
can't.
court. It's
They
like a.
can't.
It's
I'm
like
just
a
thinking out loud.
trial.
It's sad that they
It's the
can't.
trial of the president. It's
Yeah.
not public record. But he's so there's Kristen Cinema in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Daryl again. Shout out Daryl, our fan in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
She is not, from what I've been reading, not making it clear whether or not she'll vote to convict and remove.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, it's going to be symbolic, essentially, right? It's not going to really have anything, and then it could have repercussions when they come up for re-election.
If they vote to remove, do his security guards not say, "Oh, Mr. President, we got to take you to jail now"? Like, "Oh, Mr. President, you're not the president anymore. I got to take you to jail." Does that not happen?
I don't know. No president's ever been removed.
It's never happened. But once the Senate says
They've been impeached, but never removed.
If they vote to impeach, which I don't think they will.
They voted to impeach, but do you mean if they vote
the Senate
to convict?
Sorry, to convict
and remove.
If they vote to convict and remove,
yeah,
is that basically it? Like his top security guard goes, "Okay, I got to."
He's out. If that's what they do, if they vote to convict and remove, he's out. But that's unlikely.
Right.
So there's Kristen Cinema in Arizona. There's Joe Manchin in West Virginia.
Okay.
Who's a Democrat, but he's like, might as well be a Republican almost. Like he's a Democrat, but he's like not.
Yeah.
Not in the idea of what you might think of as a Democrat.
No, man.
And then there's Doug Jones, who beat Roy Moore. Do you remember Roy Moore when that was all over the news from Alabama?
Okay.
Because Jeff Sessions.
Okay.
Was tapped to be in the Trump administration, so they had to have a special election to replace his seat in the Senate.
Okay.
And Roy Moore was the guy that they said was picking up teenage girls and having relationships with them, and he was the Republican running.
Oh yeah, I do
remember
that.
And then there was this guy Doug Jones, but Doug Jones is also similarly he's in Alabama.
So you got to be a little.
So you can't be too far to the left.
You can't be too far left. You got to.
And
your
they're saying that him being reelected is already kind of unlikely because I think partly the reason why he got elected to the Senate was because Roy Moore was so troubling, and he only won by like a razor-thin margin too.
So Roy Moore was doing all that with the girls,
Roy
and he
Moore
still won.
No, he didn't win.
He didn't win, but
Doug Jones
he
won.
only lost by a little bit.
Yeah, he barely lost.
He
barely lost. It was a very, very close election.
Those are pretty bad, man.
A lot of those elections are, though.
Even I remember hearing a thing about one of his victims, and even the victim's mom was like, "Well, you should be happy if a guy like Roy Moore wants to." Like her mom was even like, "That's okay." So yeah, I guess they don't care about that.
Yeah, it was troubling. It was troubling for people, but I mean, they also vote for Donald Trump and everything like that. So anyway, there's three Democratic senators who may not vote to convict, right? Which sends a bad message, they say, because then Trump will see, look, even not all the Democrats agreed.
Couldn't even get all your
And even in Congress, you had Tulsi Gabbard, Tulsi, who you love.
Tell me, what did Tulsi do?
So when they had the votes to impeach, right, she didn't vote to impeach. She just listed herself as present.
Oh.
She didn't even vote to impeach. And she's not running again for Congress.
So what's her deal? Is she running for president?
I don't know. You know what? That kind of was like, people were kind of like, that was weird that she did that. Yeah, she's still running for president.
Oh, maybe because she's voting for president.
Well, running for president, yeah, but then a bunch of other people who are running for president are voting to convict and remove. Like, there's so many senators in the race right now. If she's running
for president, you know what? She's like, no, I want to beat him. She just said, I'm not gonna vote. I'm not gonna vote on someone.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll take him in 2020.
I don't know. I'd have to look into that. I don't know if there was any rationale for it. But anyway, right now the main thing is there's John Bolton, right?
Okay.
Who was in the Trump administration? I believe he was a national security advisor.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Right. Him and Trump had a bit of a falling out. John Bolton was also seen as like a war hawk.
He's a psycho.
Wanted to have a lot of regime change.
Oh God, I hate him.
He would have been someone who would want to see like Iran and America get into a war.
Oh God, he's the worst, man. They just don't care.
He's saying that. Well, he has a book coming out, right?
Oh.
And then now he's saying that Trump, pretty much was making it clear that he was tampering with the Ukrainian aid and all that, and was speaking to the president of Ukraine, saying, "I'm going to hold up your funds if you do not give me some dirt on the Bidens or make a public announcement that you're going to do an investigation into the Bidens."
He's so corrupt, man.
So, but this is the thing. John Bolton is someone who they're saying now is like a witness with a first-hand account, and the Democrats want him to testify in the Senate hearing, right? But the Republicans, Mitch McConnell in particular, doesn't want him to go. And for that to happen, if they want to call a witness, you just need a basic 51 to 49 majority.
Oh, so they might have to just call him to summon him.
So the Democrats need, I think the Democrats need like 4 Republicans in the Senate to come over to their side and say, we want John Bolton to come and testify under oath what happened.
This is the real basketball. That's very exciting to me.
This is the real basketball.
That's very exciting to me.
So they're saying that the vote on that's going to happen on Friday.
Woo!
Friday, the vote on that should happen.
The thing about Trump is that he does dominate his people quite a bit. Like he did this thing where he's like, okay, who's really loyal, and he fired a bunch of people. So people are afraid of him, I feel like. But then some people are too powerful. Like John Bolton is powerful enough maybe to be like, no, Trump, you fucked with the wrong guy now. Because he's a war hawk. He has I'm sure.
Well,
he's
like a deep Republican.
He's
and the thing is, they say that Republicans respect him. And I think what the Democrats' play is with all this now is they want to have Bolton come out, and then people who are Republican voters and like the party still to start to push themselves further and further away from Trump. Because I think it's all kind of 2020 election strategy now, right? I think that's kind of what it's all looking towards. So how do we as a party discredit the president in the public eye so that Republican voters won't even be able to stomach voting for him for president, and instead of maybe even just not vote Democrat, maybe they just don't even go to the polls at all, right? I think that's part of the calculation. And then they're saying there's some, like Mitt Romney is someone who's kind of been signaling in the press that he thinks that John Bolton should be testifying. There's a senator from Alaska, Lisa Murkowski.
Okay.
She's also doing it, and they're saying that she might be on shaky ground.
Damn.
Right? Then they're saying Suzanne Collins,
Okay.
who is a senator from Maine. And these two were also heavily watched with the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation, right? Suzanne Collins in Maine, she's up for re-election in the fall.
You're saying top-level Republican players? Or wait?
Senators. Top senators.
Yeah.
And then there's another guy, I think Lamar Alexander from Tennessee.
So there's no sign of
There's another
Republican
one.
senators voting against Trump. But there is sign of them saying call John Bolton to
They
testify.
might bring John Bolton to testify.
That's very interesting.
Because they're see, everyone's trying to hedge the bets now. But then
Yeah.
also, it just came out today, or was it was either late yesterday or today. Mitch McConnell, right, Senate Majority Leader, Republican senator from Kentucky.
Yep.
He was saying that he didn't have the votes to block Bolton, from coming up.
That's so funny that he just says it.
And then
Like,
the
he's
New York
like,
Times did it.
Hey everyone, I don't have the votes. So it's almost like they're signaling media and maybe even other Republicans to be like, I don't have the votes, guys. So come on, like, what are we gonna do? And then
Well, he doesn't necessarily have the votes to block it.
he doesn't have the votes to block it, but
To
it
block
just
Bolton from testifying.
it just signals to the party, to the culture that I need some more help on this. And so maybe now more people can come in his favor, or like he has to start making a case for like, come on, let's block
I don't know
John
if
Bolton.
he said that. I mean, I think it got leaked that he said that because he
Right.
said it in like a private lunch meeting or something.
In a private
like
lunch
that.
meeting, he's like, hey, if they call Bolton, I can't stop it.
But the thing is, the Republicans are saying that they want to bring up Joe Biden and have Hunter Biden testify under oath too, because they want to embarrass the Bidens and ask them questions, and because Hunter Biden had this job, or he had this appointment on the board, pretty much that was like kind of like, it's a nepotism kind of like appointment, seemingly.
Yeah.
He got like a cup, like
Such a
I think
rich
he got
kid
like
job.
90 grand or something like that. But then you look at, I just read the thing, Rudy Giuliani's son
Yeah.
is like, he has some assignment from the White House, is like the White House's like sports attaché.
Oh, of
And
course.
he gets like 98 grand a year to be like the sports attaché. So it's on all sides. Like, it's like, how do they have the moral high ground to do that when Rudy Giuliani's son, who's also been the guy,
Sports attaché.
and Rudy's been the guy like behind the scenes all this while, right? Who's been kind of like doing the dealings on behalf of the
Rudy's
president.
like, can you
allegedly,
give my son a job? Can you give
right?
something? He likes sports. Can you give him a job?
Yeah.
He's like, we'll make him sports attaché.
Something along
Make
those
up
lines.
a
yeah.
Oh God, what useless kids, man.
But I'm just saying. So they want to bring Hunter Biden, and then the Times, the Michael Barbaro from the New York Times.
Yeah.
He sat down with Chuck Schumer
Okay.
the other day, and he said they want to bring up Biden. How do you feel about that, Hunter Biden?
Uh-oh.
And he's like, if they want to bring him up, they can bring him up. They have the votes to do it. They have the majority. They don't need to ask us to bring him up. They
Bring
can do
it.
it. Why aren't they doing it? Because they don't want to bring any new witnesses. Because they don't want to set the precedent for that. So we're gonna see what happens.
Man,
And
Chuck Schumer's killing it right now, eh? What was the article you sent me where it just had Chuck Schumer's face? Like, Chuck Schumer's really winning, and he's like Like he's just so happy with himself.
Well, they're saying the Democrats are like, even Nancy Pelosi was like waiting on some things, and then they got the guy Lev Parnov or Parnas. You know, remember in October they arrested those two like Russian guys who were in all those photos of Trump. And
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
Just two bros.
There was these two guys who were like,
who's their dad? Were they? They were the Russian sports attaché.
They didn't look like they were in great shape. These guys.
Okay, not in the sports attaché. Okay,
they weren't sports attaché, but it seemed like they had been doing some stuff with Giuliani or other people related to the impeachment. Or sorry, not related to impeachment, but related to the getting dirt on the Bidens and coordinating with people in Europe. And I don't know.
Very corrupt, and
We'll see what happens.
It's crazy how Trump is pretty open with his family. He's like, yeah, my family's just gonna work with me. What?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. At least Giuliani has the decency to go make up sports attaché. Trump's kids are just like, okay, I just made him the head of this thing. Who is this kid? These are voted in positions, aren't they? I mean, I guess not.
No.
You can appoint people, but no, you can't appoint your family. I swear to God,
What do you mean you can't? He just did.
He did, but I don't think it's legal. He fired some ethics guy that's supposed to be watching him. I saw a video of a guy, and again, hazy on the facts because
he's
very
on the
tight.
facts.
All of that stuff
because
you
you
just
are
did was-
reading now.
All of this stuff you just did was very tight.
Off the dome.
I remember,
off the dome, baby.
Off the dome, baby. But I remember one of their like the White House chief ethical officer. He just did this thing with Vice where he's like, nobody's been kicked out for 55 years. I mean, I'm actually it's incredible that he did it. He's just like talking in Washington somewhere, but he's just talking about how like Trump kicked him out for basically finding some corrupt shit about him.
Yeah.
Like he was like getting close to some corrupt stuff, and then Trump was like, "Don't touch it," and he's like, "Well, I'm really sorry.
my job.
It is my job, and we'll have to whatever." And he's just like fired. And the guy's just such a nice guy. He's like, I'm the ethics officer. It's unprecedented. It's never been done, and I can't believe he fired me. Like he's just so like, he thought he was going to do that for life, basically. I think they interviewed him like 2 days later. He was really upset.
Shit happens.
Shit happens, I guess. Hey, no, he's very corrupt, and I think it's all gonna come out now, I guess. But
well, I think this is the big takeaway though. Don't expect him to get removed. I don't think it's gonna happen.
2/3.
But the Democrats are pretty much playing a hard game of being like, if you don't give people a chance to see all this stuff, if you don't make this public record, then it shows that you're being highly partisan, even though they're being partisan too, for sure. But that's just kind of how this thing works. He did fuck up and he did do something
he
seemingly illegal.
He
right?
did the thing, and it's like their job. You have to. It's his party's job too. But they can.
Sure.
They're not doing it, and they have the excuse of like he's our guy and we voted for him. They'll never admit, like right wing people can't admit if they made a mistake. Like they're always just gonna be like, no, he's our guy, no matter all the shitty stuff he does. No matter.
Right, but we're in the real world here, right? So it's pretty much it's saying hedge your bets if you're, for example, Lisa Murkowski in Alaska.
Damn. Names.
Do I have a better chance of getting reelected with my constituency if I withhold this and just ride or die for Trump? Or do people back home in Alaska want to know what's really going down? Because when I come up again, they're going to remember this. And they're saying Suzanne Collins is probably not looking too hot anyway because with the Kavanaugh thing.
Okay.
See, Lisa Murkowski, she didn't vote for Kavanaugh.
Right.
They didn't need her vote, but she didn't. And there were some Democrats who did even, right?
Vote for Kavanaugh.
Yeah, there were a couple.
Okay.
So I think Doug Jones actually voted for him, the guy from Alabama. And I think Joe Manchin as well, the guy from West Virginia.
Yeah.
These are the more conservative Democrats, right? So Lisa Murkowski, though, Republican, said, no, I don't like what I saw, and I'm not voting to confirm, right? And maybe that panned out well for her, so maybe it's advantageous for her. Now, Mitt Romney, he doesn't like Trump. They don't get along.
Man, Trump dissed him so good.
Yeah. They don't fuck with each other, even slightly.
No, but Trump's so mean, man.
Yeah,
he did this thing where he's like, I'm going to invite you over to... Dude, it was so nasty. And again, hazy on the facts. But I feel like Trump, after Mitt Romney dropped out, Trump was like, hey, why don't we have a meeting and I want to talk to you about how you can work for me
I
one
don't
day.
think
Mitt Romney flies over.
Mitt Romney didn't run
Trump just
in 2016.
Oh no, he didn't run in 2016, but something with
It
Trump.
it was along the lines that Trump was gonna maybe give him a cabinet position,
Something
in his
like that, and he just
administration.
and then Mitt Romney's like, "Yes, sir, please, sir, that'd be great." And he comes
Yeah.
over, and Trump just made fun of him, basically.
Yeah, he's like, he punked him. He punked him.
What did he do to him? What did he say to him when he got showed up?
They were just like there was like a dinner where Trump was like kind of like smiling at the camera like this asshole, and Mitt Romney looked like really eager. And
yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah, that was a couple years ago.
It
but
was weird. He just like brought him in to rip him. Kind of like after he won the election, he's still texting like
Right.
Hillary's whatever. Hillary's a loser. It's like, okay, you won, man. You don't have to send these tweets now.
he kicks you while you're down, but
He really does, man. It's like,
But the
you're
thing is,
supposed to just be like, hey, it would be better to just be like, hey, reaching out to Hillary Clinton, you ran a good race, but that's it. Okay, bye. Like that's just don't say
Right.
anything. He's like taunting her after he won.
right.
That's a
Well, here's the thing with Mitt Romney,
maniac.
right? He's
Yeah.
a senator for Utah now. He's a senator in Utah.
okay.
And the Mormons, they tend to be Republican, but they do not like Trump.
Yeah, because they do believe in something. And Mitt Romney
They're
made
not a fan
health
of
care
him.
for his state whenever he was in Massachusetts. Or
That was
something.
when he was the governor of Massachusetts. Yeah.
He did a great healthcare program. The guy is a great manager. Actually, he's
well.
very smart, but he probably is very capital. He is definitely very capitalist too.
Yeah, 100%. He's a Republican. But I'm just saying, so he's someone who it's not politically dangerous for him because you have to remember, if you're a senator, the only people you have to appeal to are your constituents in your state.
6 years,
Right?
and you're chilling, and Trump can punk a lot of them. I don't think Mitt Romney's really in a position to be held down by him now, right?
No. And he can try to bring some other people over to his side.
That's
So
great.
we'll see.
We'll see. They need 2/3. The numbers are basically
Well, that's to remove. They only just need a 51 to 49 majority to bring John Bolton.
wow.
To bring the witnesses.
To bring the witnesses.
This
is very exciting. That's like a game 6, and then game 7 is the what is it? The eviction? Not eviction.
the vote to, because then they all vote. The Senate votes to remove, convict and remove from office.
This is very exciting. And can I just say this traveling you've been doing?
Yeah.
It's very tight. I don't know what kind of company you have over there. I think it's very tight. It's very good influence. This is great.
What are you talking about?
These names incredible.
The names of the senators?
I mean, just off the dome, like you got this Trump trial down very tight,
Oh,
brother.
I mean, I'm like
I'm very impressed.
I'm reading the news.
I'm very impressed. It's great.
Well, I'm just trying to set a good example for you. Now that you're reading, it's just I want to be a role model.
Can we just fact check all of that, listeners? Can we fact check
Reading
all
buddies.
of that? If one thing comes back,
Fact
if
check
one
me.
name comes back incorrect,
Fact check
if
me.
Sally something, it was Arizona and not Utah, tell us.
Martha
and then
McSally. Martha McSally from
Martha
Arizona.
McSally was
Yeah.
it? It is Arizona though. That is
Yeah.
Arizona. Okay, fine.
2 senators from Arizona are
Great.
Kirsten Sinema,
Hey, it's
who
great.
is a Democrat, and Martha McSally, who's a Republican.
Killing it. I thought that was very informational.
And I'll let you know this. Kristen Sinema, she beat Martha McSally in the Senate race they had.
Mhm.
But because John McCain passed away, there was an empty seat, and the governor of Arizona is a Republican, so he appoints when someone dies or whatever,
Yeah.
he can appoint someone to fill their seat until the next election. He appointed Martha McSally, who lost.
Uh-oh.
So the Arizona people already said, we don't want you. He gave it to her anyway.
Uh-oh.
So she might be on thin ice, too, when she's up for re-election.
Damn. You know the first time you said Kristen Cinema?
Mm-hmm.
The first time you said that, I thought you said Christian Cinema. And I thought you were going to go to America and do a show at a place called Christian Cinema. You're like, shut up to Christian. That's how you said it the first time. You're like, shut up to Christian Cinema and our girl Daryl in Arizona. And I was
I think she's openly bisexual, too, Kristen Sinema.
Okay, well, I hope that's not why they didn't want to vote her in.
No, she got voted in.
No, she got appointed, you said, no?
Martha McSally got
Oh, that's
appointed.
Martha McSally. Okay, forget it. Yeah, no, she got voted in, eh?
Yeah.
Tight. Man, you got these names. It's great. I'm impressed.
Amish, just keep reading, baby. Just keep reading, and you know what I mean. Take your chaga mushrooms and your
I think
cordyceps.
whoever you've been hanging out with has been a great influence. I like that. I think it's been a great
I've been hanging out with
intellectuals, very smart
the
people.
News Plus app.
The news. Okay.
Apple News Plus app. That's what I've been hanging out with.
That's it.
That's
all it
it.
takes. They charge me money or something. You paying for it?
I got a guy. I got a guy. Okay.
And bootlegging
I
articles.
see that you
Okay.
have some parking tickets up here.
Well, look.
I just want to be clear, Amish. For regular listeners, you may know that I do drive Amish's car from time to time. I am a G2 license holder in the province of Ontario.
You're not a G yet?
G2.
You're G2 still?
Yeah, I'm G2.
Well, I as a pillar of the community that I am, I think it's important that the next generation learns how to drive.
Yeah.
My dad, a bunch of people came to my dad's funeral. They were like, "Man, we came from India. Just let us start driving." And I said, "You know what? Drive the car."
And you were like,
I said, "You know what? You need to learn drive the car."
to me or to the people who came to the funeral?
No, to you.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. No, I appreciate that you let me drive your car.
I thought you had a full G, so I let you just take it on your own that night.
Well, I have a G2, so I can still take it on my own.
Oh, you
okay?
can?
I can.
G2's official.
We didn't break the law.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's G1. I have to be with you. G2.
G2, I'm fine.
Now, sorry. Go. You want to say something?
Well, it just, I got it. There was a ticket, okay?
There was a ticket. Well, and the funny thing is
For
that you took the
$30.
car, and I even texted you like, careful where you park. Let's let the listeners know too that the streets, like basically free after 9.
In the
generally
city
speaking,
in the city of Toronto.
free after 9. But the side streets at 12 o'clock they start charging. It's
The
a
major
little
streets.
game. It's a little fun
Okay,
little
so
game.
I will just say this, though. I'm usually using a commune auto, and I'm allowed to park pretty much wherever except the main streets.
Yeah.
So pretty much anywhere on the side streets. So I've been in a false, sense of safety, and that I can park on the streets, side
Yeah.
streets. That is.
Sure.
However, I will also add, you did text me, and not to say that this is a theme with your text
Okay.
or
Yeah.
your line of speech
Okay.
or just your general communication skills overall.
but you just
But it
didn't
was
get-
maybe a little unclear what you meant. Maybe it was a little bit.
I think I texted like careful with the parking. Is that what I said?
I don't know what that means exactly. I thought you meant
Right.
like don't park in front of a hydrant.
Oh
I thought
no.
you maybe meant
Just
like
like-
don't park in front of someone's driveway. Things I know.
That stuff, yeah.
Things I
but
know
also
not to
just
do.
check the signs. They're tricky. They trick you. Every
so-
spot in the city, you got to pay. But the very funny thing is when we got back to we're walking back to the car. I see the yellow ticket on it. It's very bright, and I just thought it was so funny how you grab the ticket. We get in the car, and you just like hand me the ticket. Like, I'm so sorry, Amish.
Well, I am sorry, but then,
I'm so sorry for your loss, Amish. Here you go.
but then, who took you out for dinner the next day?
Mashu. It was incredible.
Shout out to Mashu.
Shout out to Mashu.
Great Israeli food.
Incredible food.
Or Palestinian food, depending how you slice that orange.
Yeah.
And I let you keep the leftovers on top of it.
Yeah, no, hey, it's
So the
fine,
fact
baby.
that ticket is up there looking at me,
glaring at you.
glaring at me, and then I see you have another ticket, and then I'm like, are you trying to pawn that off on me? Another one for $40, even more money, and you're trying to put that on me?
No,
What's that one about?
you're reading into it.
What's the $40
I just
one
put
about?
the parking tickets all together. It's
what's
not
the
about you.
What's the $40 ticket about?
The $40 ticket is about, I guess there's a spot where they charge it. I don't know. I didn't see a sign. I'm going to have to fight it.
You're
Oh,
gonna
no,
have
no,
to
no.
fight it?
You know what the $40 one is? It's
Tell
because
me.
I stayed over an hour. It was one of these
You
hour
stayed
deals.
over an hour. What were you
Some
doing?
of the side streets, I was writing, man. I was working. I had to work for like 4 or 5 hours straight. I
You're
didn't
like at
wanna
a
leave.
cafe?
Yeah, I was at a cafe. I was
You're in the
reading.
flow state?
I was in the flow state.
You're in the zone?
But I didn't even know there's a 1 hour thing now in the annex. Because in the annex, they used to just have like all day free, kind of. Now they
Oh,
have
okay.
a 1 hour limit on it on the daytimes until 6 p.m. So it's all this little game you got to play with them.
I'm glad, this is for our listenership who's really curious about, parking violations and laws in the city of Toronto
Yeah.
and kind of how they apply to your day-to-day life and your overall experience.
Hey, they'll take some money from
So-
you. Even wasn't someone saying that they had to pay like $2,000 in parking tickets last year?
$2,000?
It just adds up, man. Especially if you don't pay them right away, they
What?
just they double it. They mess with you. They're
Oh,
trying to get
yeah.
your money.
Oh, no, you got to pay it.
No, it's fine.
But you and me, we're good.
Hey, we're square, baby. We're square.
good.
Hey, you're doing great.
I got you
I
a
got
lentil
the dinner.
soup.
I got the dinner.
I got you the eggplant.
It looked very expensive. I didn't check.
I
I'm
got
not
you the
like doing it.
hummus.
You got me dinner.
I let you keep the leftovers.
You got me the dinner. We're calling it a day. It's fine.
Okay. I just want that on the record.
It's on the record.
Let the record show.
Hey, I'm a pillar in the community, brother. I'm
the
doing
record
so
show.
great. It's fine.
Okay. A tragedy happened this weekend. I know
Yeah.
you said you're not a big basketball fan.
Yeah, true.
But sadly, Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna,
That is sad, though.
along with I think it was 4 or 5 other people.
Yeah.
All sadly perished in a helicopter accident in California Sunday.
That is sad, and it's like I'm not into sports, but sports is a metaphor for like being at our best and stuff like that. So like in that sense, he was an incredible player. He was an inspiration. They did a funeral. They did like a thing for him in Brampton at the Brampton funeral. There's a funeral home. They did like a visitation for Kobe.
Which funeral
yesterday?
Home? What?
Yeah.
Which funeral home in Brampton?
Because all these brown guys are obsessed with Kobe. My Instagram feed right now is just all Kobe all the time.
I think a lot of people's yeah, because I mean he was a big cultural figure.
He was a big figure, right?
He was a big cultural figure.
People loved him, and people. I didn't know anything about these like rape allegations until it happened too. I did not know about that. But then everyone, like my Instagram, people are obsessed, and then I'm out in public, and every time someone brought it up, someone would be like, "Why are we lionizing
Yeah. Well, I think that part of that though is like, see, I had a thing where my the friend of mine, I spoke with her after John McCain died, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when someone dies, wasn't there an expression like you don't denigrate the dead almost? Like I get it. You can kind of like be reflective on someone's legacy and their life and bad things that they have done as well, but to just kind of pile on with it, I don't know. It's like,
Yeah.
what happened to just like being like a little respect for the dead right after the thing, the day of? Because one thing I saw was the Ari Shaffir thing.
The Ari
That
Shaffir
came
thing,
out,
yeah.
which
yeah.
I found out through Yamanika Saunders on Instagram.
Yeah,
great
Yamanika
comic in New
Saunders.
York.
When you sent me the Yamanika Saunders post, I thought she was one of the people saying like, stop lionizing Kobe Bryant, but she was actually mad about something that Ari Shaffir said.
Well, no, but because the thing with Kobe, it's like, yeah, sure. The court case that he had in 2003 doesn't look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's bad. I don't think he wasn't. Who knows exactly what happened with those trials or anything like that too. They said that the defense went after her in a big way, and that's what defense attorneys do. You know what I mean? I don't think that's very like novel or anything like that.
No,
and
that's
it was
their job.
and it is what it is. I mean, and this is like a troubling thing about his legacy, but his legacy is also like someone in the black community that is like
An inspiration.
an inspiration, but just someone who's like of the sport, someone who was a thing like that. So when you start tearing it down, people get really emotional about it, I believe, but it's because it's like it touches on so many different aspects of our culture.
I get
at
their
large.
point, and one of the things I learned from the mushroom trip is, the sacred medicine trip with my Baba. Sacred medicine trip with my Baba. One of the things that they kept telling me is that you have to treat everything with loving kindness, but that doesn't mean, like, my thing is with that conversation, with even before we get into the Ari Shaffir one, is that people think it has to be either or, and I don't see why you can't, like, celebrate the great things he did, but you can also say, like, yeah, but he did this thing too. And
Right.
and to just, like, I don't know, people really want it to be like, you're on this side or this side, and it's like, no, he did both things. He was the best player, like, he was incredible and an inspiration, and he also did this thing. And then after that, I feel like he became a big supporter of women in sports and stuff like that. Like, he whatever happened, he felt really bad about it and tried to reform it and tried to, like, pay back in some way. So I don't think it hurts to talk about all of it. Like, and I also think that violence to women from these athletes, and going back to what I was saying before, whether it's sports or military or prison, like, I'm not making an excuse of, like, they're allowed to be violent to their to the women in their lives, or, like, just out in public or whatever. But let's even talk about the greater thing of, like, these cultures, these American subcultures, sports, military thing especially, like prison system especially, it gives them this PTSD.
Power and abuse of power and
and they're just taught to be
celebrity and God complex and all that kind of thing.
There's also that too. There's there's celebrity and God complex too. But in these organizations, it's like you have to be so harsh. Like, I remember the book that his trainer wrote. I think his name's Ted Grover, and he trained Jordan and him. And when you read the book, it's like this is a book to how to beat a sociopath. Like, it's cutthroat. And I'm talking to even, like, people that are into self-help, and, like, you talk about that book. It's called Relentless. It's actually a great book. You talk about it, and you're like, it's a very interesting book. But almost all of them, I was like, but it's nasty though, right? Like he's kind of trying to teach you to be a cold, heartless, uncaring, anything to win kind of a person. That's like the trainer, right? And that's kind of what it takes to survive, I think, for a lot of them. So, yeah, I mean, I think just have that full conversation. That's my thing. Is that if there was, like, it's fine. You can just do both at the same time. I don't know why you have to.
That's you know what? That's really eloquent. I think that you're saying that, and I think that part of the reason why the Ari Shaffir thing. So Ari Shaffir, a comedian, he went out on Twitter and was saying like, "I hate the Lakers. Glad Kobe's dead.
Yeah.
You know, like he was a bad man. All this stuff. You know what I mean?" And I think that right after that, he also put out a video of him being like in front of.
I saw him doing it in a
something.
video, and it's so bad, man. Like it's not even good comedy or good acting or good delivery. Like it's just, I was offended by how bad.
Right, but
he is like it's not funny though.
But then you know, he's making the defense of like, I'm a comedian. I'm doing this for my audience. You know, I make jokes when celebrities die because I think that's when celebrities are the most worshipped, right after they die.
Yeah.
And to try to bring a little bit of air about it. I didn't know what the daughter.
And then he talks about how his fans are coming to expect it from him.
His
it's
fans
like,
expect
man,
it from me.
What is this shit of your fans expect? This is like the same issue with Gavin McInnes and all these guys, where it's like you start playing to that audience. And then it's like, who's controlling who now?
Right.
He can't, like, a celebrity can't die without this guy getting like 5 emails or 5 messages being like, hey man, where's the jokes? Where's the dead jokes? Come on. Give me a like there's like 5 guys messaging him like this. This is his audience now.
That's what he's saying. But it's also the fact that like you're gonna bring up, you know, Kobe's like court case and like the allegations against him as like you're standing up for women or whatever, when really it's like you're a sports fan who's just using this as another reason to like talk poorly about someone who just died.
No, he was definitely
You know what I mean?
he was definitely like
there's,
not
like, a
even
level-
pretending to be on the girl's side. He was doing it. He was like kind of taunting that too, where he's like, "Hey, your rapist is dead now." Like
Yeah,
he was doing
it's
it like
like-
that, which is like even it's kind of insulting both sides, really.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not even
Well,
No,
it just but the thing is when you get the blowback on that though, and he like put
he
out
got fired from everything.
He got fired?
I think so. I saw articles
What did he
saying
get
like
fired
his
from?
age. I know he doesn't have a career. No, this is
What did
the
he get
issue with
fired
these
from,
guys.
though?
They're not funny, man. But they think it's all. They think.
Well, no, Ari's done stuff that's funny. I wouldn't say that he's not funny. Real
fine.
large,
Okay, but here's my thing, Drew. Is that like I feel like there's a whole team. This is so mean. I don't want to be negative, but like there's like this whole team of like comics that are like it's like. Are they funny though? And it's like they were on Joe Rogan. Like it's like there's a whole team of them. I'm not talking about Tim Dillon. I'm not talking about Chris D'Elia. Like those guys are hilarious. I'm talking about there's like this. You could almost say like how'd you get to where you are? And people could say like I toured across. I did this.
Right.
There's a bunch of guys that are like I'm friends with Joe Rogan. Like that's the main thing of their career.
Right.
I feel like he's one of those guys.
I wouldn't. Put
I don't
him there.
think
I
he's
wouldn't
ever
say
been
that
funny. Like he's always been kind of funny.
He's made me laugh. He's done things.
He has made me laugh, and he's a super nice guy too, though. But like, I remember I heard him one time crying on this clip, talking about how they finally passed me at the Comedy Store, and I'm gonna finally do it. Like everything in my life led up to this, and I'm finally.
Right.
And I remember hearing it, and I remember thinking like, maybe she didn't pass you because you're not funny though.
No,
And
see,
maybe
no.
she's trying to talk you out of it because I
No.
I just gotta say that video he did though,
I don't.
it's just it's so bad.
Yeah, but this is my whole point though. It's like you're gonna do something like that, which is being like reactive and taunting and like trying to get like a point across, and then when you get the backlash, you know what I mean? You kind of have to take the backlash. Like this is
Didn't he though?
He did, but then it's like he puts out his statement on Instagram, but then he deletes disables the comments and things like that.
Oh, okay.
So it's like this is where the conversation ends, which I guess is your prerogative, and I don't necessarily disagree with you doing that holistically. But at the same time, it's like you know that when you do something like that, it's not going to be universally well received. And as a public figure, I mean, this whole thing comes down to like expectations of public figures, I think, and how we kind of deal with it as the larger public when they put their personal thoughts and feelings forward. For example, like Kobe's death is tragic, the death of his daughter is tragic, the death of all those people is tragic, stuff like that. But this is not gonna ever be like a private thing that his family can just kind of deal with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
guess he's
like
also a
when-
public figure, so he's
He's
gonna
also a
get
public
it.
figure.
He's gonna
Yeah.
get
So
that.
so you can't really make the defense that I made that joke for just my audience, because that joke lives in an open, sphere. Do you have a private account on Twitter? Like, is your stuff, listed in only places where you have to be is it behind a paywall? Like, is it like, I get you saying you're making it for your fans or whatever like that, but you have to expect that there's going to be blowback when that happens, and that's part of, free speech. That is free speech.
Yeah.
People are going to say one thing and other people are going to respond. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
No, and these
And
guys.
it's also tone deaf, I think. Sorry, just let me make this one point where it's like when Kobe is a very highly accomplished figure in the African American community, in the black community in the United States. So for you to speak ill of him just after he passed, it's going to offend people on another level too, especially when you're only looking at it in the context of him as an athlete, and you're only looking at it in context of him being on a team that you don't like, and it's just trivializing it almost. It's the trivial kind of approach that you take to the death. And you can say you didn't know his daughter was there, and
Yeah.
but his daughter there or not, I mean, it's still just kind of like, if it's a joke in poor taste seemingly, and the culture is telling you that they're not really riding with it, you know what I mean, or parts of the culture are at least. That's valid, and I don't think that you can really say that they're wrong or you're right or like that. I mean, it's hard. This is one of these things that's hard to come to understanding on, because as a comedian,
Yeah.
you're a comedian. You do want to feel that you can be able to make jokes or delve into topics or touch on subject matter that is morose or that is kind of dark or that is.
We actually have to. And the issue
yeah,
here.
But then, what's the issue here?
The issue here, and I know it's going to sound like I'm being uncaring about this, but I'm actually being very caring. The issue here is the writing's not good enough. Like, these people don't. Everyone who's talking about free speech, not everyone, but like most people talking about like my career's under attack because of free speech, they're not good. They're saying things that are outdated. They're saying things that are pissing people off, and then they're like, "Oh, it must be some left-wing agenda that's attacking me. It must be this free speech people are out of control and attacking me." It's like, you're not that good, baby. It's not. I mean, he's okay. Like, I'm not saying he's terrible. He's okay, but I think a lot of them are becoming and it's so negative. Even Joe Rogan, I find the stand-up. It's okay. I find that whole industry is becoming like, you have a radio show and then you do these speaking engagements and your fans call it stand-up comedy. It is. And I'm not saying
And that's what we're really desperately trying to get to.
That's what we're trying to do too. Look, I'm not saying like whatever, but they're not the top comics. And even the super fans, you ask them like, okay, you really loved like some Joe Rogan special? Tell me a joke. What's the bit that you really loved? It's funny because you look at this, even like Louis C.K. We can all think of the joke. It went viral. It's huge. These guys, it kind of reminds me of one time he showed this. I saw this on Joe Rogan because I do love Joe Rogan, the podcast.
But what stand-up has come out recently where a bit has gone viral?
I think Baby Cobra didn't Baby Cobra or that one have stuff that everyone.
Who?
What's her name? I forget her name. Ali Wong. Yeah.
Oh, that was like a couple years ago though.
That was a couple of years ago, but I'm saying
I mean, like in the past year even. What's really gone viral?
It's hard to go viral now because it seems like overly saturated, maybe. But
stuff does go viral, but it has to be. So this is the thing. This is what's actually gone viral. Ari Shaffir, more than any of his material recently, it's the fact that he's courting controversy off of this like event that's been happening. That's what's going viral now. And that is the topic of conversation with the news cycle and everything like that. He happens to be a comedian, so that's what's going big. But it's not him doing stuff on stage that's really popping off and people are sharing at that heavy level. It's him making this like insensitive thing that people, because that's what people are being more reactive to, because it feels real and there's like an actual kind of like darkness and an emotion and like a confusion surrounding it.
And that's why you have to go for those jokes, man. It's like, it's the only way that you could keep your audience watching you is like every time a dead guy someone dies, they're just, Ari, where's the jokes, Ari? Where is it? I'm going to stop following you, Ari. It's like, man, come on, man. You got to do. He is great, though, in other ways. Like, I just feel like they're all. I think stand-up isn't quite. It is like speaking engagements in the sense that, like, It's tight. The stand-up's good, but it's fine. And then when I see the video that he did, it's like this guy doesn't get what comedy is even. It's just poorly done. It's poorly executed. The whole thing. I didn't like it.
Well, it just seemed reactive. It's like it's unthinking. You know what I mean? It's just an unthinking kind of like reactive thing to do, and it's not. I don't know. It's not particularly insightful or anything like that. It just is. It's taking someone's. And I think this is one thing that I think most people kind of took away from the Kobe thing. At least me. I was eating lunch with some friends when we got the news, right? Or my friend got his like text message from somebody and was like, "What the fuck?" And he like looked into it. I think that what is most kind of resonant with people about it is just the immediacy of a life being taken away. You know what I mean? It's how he woke up. He was gonna go to basketball practice with his kid. He woke up, went to go there, and he's gone. And he's 41 years old. He already accomplished a lot. He had, a blemish on his life with 2003.
Yeah, but he was gonna do great things, man. He was working so hard on bringing women into sports and stuff like that. Like he was making real moves. I mean, these guys when they leave their career, the hustle and the work ethic that they had in their career, it goes into other things. Like you look at what Magic Johnson's doing, even
for sure. But even that aside, like that's his own trajectory. But I think it's just the kind of thing of like, don't take anything for granted. I think that's what it was, and then to just kind of like laugh at his death, or make light of his death in the moment was just kind of for people it was too heavy because it was just like, man, it could happen at any moment. Like this is a truly like a shocking, death. That's it. I'm trying to find another word, but it's just a shocking death.
And like, look, man,
and that's what people are freaked out about.
One of the things when my dad died that people said they appreciated is that I treated it lightly a little bit. Like I didn't sit with the heaviness of it too much, and I was still kind of making jokes about stuff and just being in good spirits with people. And people say that it really helps. Even with very few people told me this, but even when my mom was sick. Yeah. Even when my dad was just in the hospital, it's like one of the things I realized is that that's where you got to be fun and joking with them because they need it more almost. It really lifts them. So I'm just saying like anything can be joked about, but it's like it's got to be good. You can celebrate a person with a joke. Well, it doesn't have to be like his joke was like, haha, they're dead. It's like it's such a dumb joke. Like it's not even a joke. It's bad writing even. Like
it was just tone deaf. It was totally tone deaf, and I think it's also just kind of like that's interesting. I would just want to say with that though, like how did you arrive at that to approach it with a lightness or whatever? What made you?
Because when you're going to see them, when you're going to see them in the hospital, right? Yeah. And you can see. Did I ever tell you about his neighbor woman? The lady who was his neighbor. Yeah. Or maybe it was the lady who was like just there, right?
The neighbor, the woman who was beside your dad in the hospital.
In the hospital, right? Yeah. She would fall in the bathroom for like 4 hours, 5 hours, and then they'd find her, and then her family would come, like another hour later. Yeah. And they would come, and she would be like, I was on the floor for 5 hours. Nobody loved me. You don't like it was all just a test. She didn't even fall. I swear to God, she sits in the bathroom. She's so lonely. Right. They're so bitter with each other that she does this thing where they show up and is like, haha, got you. Nobody loves me. Right. I got you. Like to her.
She's testing them all the time.
She's testing them all the time. And their relationship has become, they're treating her like this professional, we are here for our time and we are doing this. And she's going like, it's bitter and it's like so sad, but she's almost like, but do you love me? Can you want to be here? Like, that's what I feel like my dad needed to. A lot of them need that. They need someone to come. And when I was a kid, my mom used to take me to a senior home, and we just go hang out with them. This is like a thing you could do. You could just do it volunteer. And when they hang out, it's like, okay, do I do this professional activity? Even they tell you, just lift the spirits. Right. Just make them feel good. That's what they need for a second. Right. Like kids, they just need to. That's almost like the most important thing. So. With my dad as he was going through it and approaching his death, even at his and I've seen so many people do this. His eulogy, like the speech I did at his eulogy, had jokes in it. I've seen so many people do this. You can roast someone.
Right.
You can roast someone after they die, but you don't like you have to have
But
a basic understanding
what
of
place
comedy.
is it coming from?
It's got to be coming from the right place.
I don't even know if
be
it's
celebrating them.
I think, and the basic understanding of comedy is the tonality in which you're doing it, right?
Yeah, it's really important,
Is
man.
it-
I
is
mean,
it
it was
malicious?
a it was a shitty job he did. I don't like it's just bad writing. That's all I'm saying. And he's gonna blame. You can just see in his apology, he's kind of blaming it on like, sorry, but this. He didn't say free speech maybe, but he was just saying like, this is my right to just do jokes for my people, and you don't have to do it. It's fine. Like I don't. I'm also not the kind of guy that thinks he should be canceled.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not like that either. I think it's fine. Like he did this stupid joke. Everyone's gonna tell him he's a piece of shit. He's feeling shitty about it. I do think he is.
Yeah.
I think his apology is genuine.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you know, and I don't think he should be canceled or anything. But ultimately, it's like,
Well,
man,
he says
you
he
suck.
he didn't do it to be malicious or whatever, but it just the tonality of it came off that way.
Yeah.
And it came off as just it trivialized it almost. I think that's what people are responding to. It was just saying, you know,
Yeah.
this guy. And this is another thing. It's like I always wonder, like when you're someone of that stature, like you're a celebrity or like an athlete who is, you know, beloved by, especially in such a large market like Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
So like not only is like your fan base locally is huge, and then NBA takes you all around the world. You know what I mean? On top of that,
Top player, man. He's one of the greatest of all time.
the
Right?
the emotional,
Like,
yeah,
he's
for sure.
huge,
But
man.
the emotional kind of interactions that people have with you. I just find it so weird because it's such a personal. Like, if anyone we know, like your father passed away, and that's terrible. But like, how could you relate if that was like there's no way to fathom it if your father was like a big public figure. You know what I mean? Because then it's not really your dad passed away. Everyone has their opinion about it. Everyone wants to say something about it.
Yeah, I know. You got it.
Like-
Hey.
Like,
this
I feel
is-
like that's almost in a way harder
Yeah.
for someone to deal with. Like,
Yeah,
it's like
and a
I
little
can't
bit-
actually grieve and deal with this on my own terms
Mhm.
because now everyone who I don't even know, who never even knew my dad, has their own opinion about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is. That's and a little bit of that is just price for celebrity. That's
Right.
a little bit of price for playing the game. I mean, you know you're here, and I think and they were prepared to pay it. And you know, a lot of these things, I do find that we get very mad for them, but I don't know. Kobe's the kind of guy that I feel like he would be like, "Hey, man, my daughter was on the helicopter." Like it wouldn't be. I don't think he would even be so mad. He would just be like, okay. Like have you ever seen the roast shows where someone goes like a little too far? To me, Ari Shaffir is like the bad guy, right, or the bad writer at like those roast shows. It's like everyone kills, and then one person just like they don't get it. Their jokes are off, and they're bombing, and they don't get it. It's kind of like that. Like it's like this guy doesn't get how this works. Like he's just being nasty, and he doesn't know how to
Right.
write the joke properly or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. Anyway, yeah.
Well, that was good. That was good, Amish. I feel like you have been really spiritually opened up in the past little while. right?
Reading.
You're reading.
Reading. I'm gonna have names next
And
week.
you're
I'm gonna say
writing.
all the Sallys and all the stuff.
You're reading
Yeah.
and you're writing.
Yeah, no, I got a writing deadline, so I got to do that.
This is leading kind of into another thing I want to talk about.
Let's do it.
Where I was Goop. You touched on it earlier in the episode today.
Yep.
Gwyneth Paltrow just had a Netflix thing come out about Goop,
Mm-hmm.
her wellness, and all that. And I watched a bit of it, and I wanted you to watch a little bit,
Yeah.
and then compare it to your own experience with, you know, psilocybin and
Sacred. Let's just say sacred. The sacred.
the
sacred.
sacred journey.
The sacreds. It was great. It was very relatable. I was surprised because you sent me an article about it from the New Yorker, and they ripped her, man. It was such a roast
Doreen St. Felix of the New Yorker.
of the New Yorker. Ooh, just tore her apart.
She's a cultural critic.
She's a cultural critic,
She's a
man.
cultural critic.
And by the time she got to the end, she did say she enjoyed like a bit of the episode here and a bit of the episode there. But like overall, it was like, look at this fake white bitch. Fuck you. Like I did not. I was reading the article. I was like, damn. I didn't see all that. But
Right.
now that after reading her article, and thinking about it a little more, she is becoming like, it is a little bit, you know, Joe Rogan for women as far as like the. Because everyone's in this game online now, right? Where you got
Well,
it's like you're nothing if you're not selling some pills or something.
I was saying that a little bit because it was a lot of the same kind of stuff. Like Joe Rogan's always talking about, mushrooms and the benefits of psilocybin.
I mean, at least her
the
mushrooms get you
benefits
high.
of
Like
doing-
Joe Rogan's mushrooms are like super brain.
No, but he has people on who talk about like psilocybin mushrooms and like maps and all that.
Yeah, those
too.
are great. I love those guests.
No, exactly. But then then Gwyneth is bringing on the similar
Similar
kind of
thing.
people.
She got maps. She
but
got the
like
head of
if
maps.
but it's so funny that like someone. I bet you there's tons of Joe Rogan fans out there who would like talk bare shit on Gwyneth Paltrow
Of course.
and what she's doing, and at the same time, I bet you there's a bunch of Gwyneth Paltrow people who would
they
look at
hate-
Joe Rogan and be like, "What a nasty." But you guys are getting sold the same shit
It's the same shit.
with just different packaging.
You know what would be
from
great?
these two.
If you did a Joe Rogan convention and then the Gwyneth Paltrow convention was next
Yeah.
door and everyone would just fall in love, right?
It's just like what it is.
They just meet. They'd be like, "You're one of those guys. You're one of those girls." You could just do like a little musical.
It's
there.
like the polarities of California. You know what I mean?
yeah, it is. It
It's all
really is.
California at the end of the day.
It is
though.
California. They're a
It's
cultural
all
leader.
California.
It's the culture leaders, man.
Yeah.
They've always been, and this is it. These are two like leaders in that. And Gwyneth, she's always been like just converting over to Oprah. Like she's like, I'm not acting anymore. She said it a couple of times. I guess Iron Man, she has to keep going back.
Well, that's what they were saying that in the article.
In the article, she's like, I'm not acting anymore, and it's
Yeah.
like she wants to do bigger things, I guess.
So yeah, you think it's positive, but I mean, like, do you think it's positive in the sense that like it's the awareness of this is getting brought to more people? Like this could actually be helping people because you're going through this thing. Because I think the things that people kind of knock her the most for
Mhm.
is that she's commercializing and profiting off of what some people would say pseudoscience, or
I don't think
some
it's
people would
pseudoscience.
say. Well, no, but this is what people would say.
People would say, and the New
You know.
Yorker is kind of saying that. Now, two big differences between her
bullshit.
and Joe Rogan is that it is so funny if a Joe Rogan fan is like, oh, can you believe this? Gwyneth Paltrow, whatever. Hey, man, at least her mushrooms get you high. You guys are taking shroom tech? What are all the, you got fucking all
I
that
bet-
shit too.
yeah.
Drew takes it.
I got
Goddamn Drew takes
Yes,
it.
I do. I like them.
What is
But-
this? Super
no,
Brain?
but by the
It's
way,
like $60
by the
bucks
way,
a bottle.
by the way,
Super Brain. I love Joe Rogan.
I don't get the Super
60
Brain.
bucks a brain mushroom caps.
I don't do that
Can
one.
it get me high? Because I can get for $60. I can get like little miniature doses of like the sacred mushrooms that take you somewhere. They give you something like this. It seems a little soft sciencey on the Joe Rogan side more. Now with Gwyneth, I know there's going to be a bunch of garbage ahead.
But Joe,
the psilocybin episode, I think it's legit.
by the way, I think Gwyneth Paltrow is also a proponent of the medicinal mushrooms like the cordyceps or the chaga or the reishi.
Oh, I'm sure she does all that garbage.
Yeah, so don't
But-
just say that it's just Joe
Fine,
Rogan.
but it
I
is
think
funny
they're both.
that-
I think that's again. We should do a Gwyneth Paltrow, Joe Rogan Venn diagram.
Of which mushrooms got
And just
who's got
see-
what mushrooms?
Not even just the mushroom, just everything. Because in the second episode, they deal with like the
Wim Hof.
Wim Hof, who I first heard about from Joe Rogan.
Yeah, no, and Joe Rogan is the one who tells me about psilocybin mushrooms too.
Has Gwyneth Paltrow been on the Joe Rogan Experience?
She should be.
She should be. She
They
should
should get
100%
together
be
on
there.
that. They
They
should
should
get together on
collab.
Because I do, man.
You want to bring America together? You get Gwyneth
gotta get
and
those
Joe
two
in the
together.
same room.
That's what I'm saying, man. If they had a convention beside each other, just everyone
Oh,
would get.
yeah.
They'd have so many babies after that.
What is the
People would
Gwyneth-
fall in love. They're the polarity. They need each other. You know.
No, I think there's a Gwyneth Paltrow Joe Rogan Venn diagram that we have to make.
I think that's the sexy new couple of America.
That's a new power couple.
That's a new power couple.
Because
It's like they get caught cheating, and then it's like, I'm sorry, everyone, I love her so much, and then she's like, hey, I wrote a whole book on breaking up happy.
yeah.
You know, she wrote a book about it or something. Like she
Well,
has a theory
because
of like you
her
have to
and
break up
her
happy.
husband divorced, and they called it a conscious uncoupling. and all
Conscious
that.
uncoupling. She's
And people
very much
mocked her.
very modern with all that. You know what?
People mocked her for
I
that.
understand how people are looking at that as flaky. That's very smart, man.
Yeah.
The conscious uncoupling, very smart. Because everyone's going to look at her as like, what are you, stupid? You spend $200,000 in divorce court, stupid. No. Conscious uncoupling, very smart. Think about this American industry of like everyone's suing each other. No. I think the New Yorker article is a little hard on her. I know there's some pseudoscience ahead. I know she's going to do some crystal shit. And episode 3, 4 is going to get it crystal. It's going to get some bullshit.
Right.
But first episode, they had doctors, they had therapists, they like the MAPS people and MAPS, I forget, it's something psychedelic. They're like a psychedelics organization. They're trying to bring it back
Yeah.
into science.
Well, they want it
Yeah.
to start being used by like psychiatrists and therapists.
Yes, and to be fair to Joe Rogan
health.
again, he's the one who got me into that in the first place. Like he's the one who got me
Right.
started on that. Really, because he's been
And
talking.
Gwyneth
about
is
psychedelics.
finishing the job.
And and then I did the job myself, and then Gwyneth is actually behind me. Even she didn't even. I've known this before.
Well, I don't. Okay.
She didn't even do it. She didn't even do it in the documentary.
Well,
That's one of the
no.
criticisms, kind of in the New
Well,
Yorker. is,
she
like,
sends
doesn't
her
do any of it.
people. Here, the problem with, I think it's like, I think people. it's interesting. So here's my thoughts. Okay, sorry, I'm a little stop and start with this, but for me, I think the issue with Gwyneth Paltrow that a lot of people have is the packaging around it, because for a lot of people it feels elitist, it feels unobtainable, it feels removed from the average person, you know? And I think that's what everyone is always kind of hammering on her for, is being like, this, you're only selling this to, like, you know, upper middle class, wealthy people.
I know. I find
can
it way too
afford
relatable. I find it way too. I'm such a prince.
to get into that.
I'm such a prince that I'm just like, what's the problem, guys? She's great. And you guys are like, okay, who is this rich?
Right,
Like,
but I think it's like the woke thing, where people are like, well, the problem with the woke thing is that it's not as inclusive as it claims to be, and there's a lot of like
a lot of rich kids.
exclusivity within
Yeah.
it. Yeah, there's a lot of class issues that go unrecognized or unspoken about.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of racial blind spots and like cultural blind spots, where you have cultural diversity, but everyone kind of has to have a similar politic, a similar kind of, you know, worldview, play ball by a certain thing, and it just, people feel a little isolated by it, because I think people generally feel isolated by, you know, what celebrity culture has become and the people who kind of sit at the top and what they're supposed to represent. Whereas Joe Rogan, in a way, appeals to people because he seems like an outsider, even though he's very much still an insider. You know what I mean?
You think he's an insider?
100%.
I mean, at some point, you just, if your numbers are that big, you do become.
He was, but even before, he was on TV. He hosted Fear Factor.
Yeah, he had Fear Factor. He had thing, but like
he was, you know, had development deals. I mean,
you
Joe Rogan, he didn't come out of nowhere.
Podcast for like, man, the guy did it before everyone, and he did it consistently.
Sure.
He put up these shitty episodes, and that's what's so inspirational about him.
For sure, but he's made his own media empire, like Gwyneth Paltrow's made her own media
At
empire
some
with
point,
Goop.
like, he's so good that he goes so
They're
big.
living
that he's
parallel lives.
These are the same. They got to
They're
get
living
married.
Parallel
They're
lives.
getting married. They're gonna get married. Yeah, she's doing like basically the female version of it all. It's like a very.
Yes.
It's hey, I think it's. I think there's two. So I said the one difference is that she's. I mean, not that she's gonna sell psilocybin mushrooms now. I mean, that's not even a difference.
Like, she
because
does it
Joe
in like
Rogan-
a well-lit, you know,
Yeah.
office in Santa Monica. Joe Rogan does it in some compound in L.A. Like, it's all.
Yeah, it's the same thing. No, but then Joe Rogan
It's the
even
two
does,
Californias.
He does cool stuff. Like, he does. I mean, it's not
Sure.
always just hunting. Like, sometimes he does just go for a hike and talk about philosophy and stuff. So he's got. I don't know.
As
I don't
does
know.
she. But I'm just saying, it's like, it's the packaging that people.
Yeah. The packaging people don't like, and
You
I
know?
get it.
It's like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders could say the same thing. It's the packaging. It's the packaging.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I get the backlash on it. I still think maybe this is just me also being so, I don't know, like maybe I'm a prince, but I do find it relatable, and I find it like I appreciate her efforts. They seem genuine.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, and I always do this where it's like people want to just hate like white people for being like, you know, sometimes people like, you'll talk to someone who's like super into social justice issues and stuff, and
Right.
just some white person will do something, and they'll be like, why is he on it? Why is straight white man on it? And I'm sometimes I'm like, because they're alive. I don't know. This is all they've wanted to do their whole life, and they did it. I don't know.
Right.
Like, just why do you have to be so mad about it? It's not a big
Yeah.
deal. Like, they're just alive, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do? Even with cancel culture, it's like I don't like whatever negative shit I said about even Ari Shaffir is like, what's cancel? Like, they're still alive.
Right.
You can't do it. I mean, even Joe Rogan, people have sent me articles like being like, oh, here he's problematic because he does it, and I'm like, he's in his basement. You can't cancel that.
Sure.
You can't cancel in the basement. You can't cancel like on his compound. He's doing a show on the internet. Like, it's crazy, but
Right.
people just get mad at him for that and stuff like that. But and then Gwyneth is just going to catch her own version of that backlash. Still, I think she's genuine. I think she's very sweet. First episode looked good. I don't know what kind of pseudoscience is coming, because I know it's coming. Because you can just tell
Well,
that
they
these are
did
all.
Snowga. They were doing yoga in the snow.
That's Wim Hof.
That was Wim Hof.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to get fluffy, but one of the other things, I know it's going to get fluffy. I know there's going to be some weird shit on this Gwyneth Paltrow journey of like
I think there's one
wellness.
about like female orgasms. That's the one that Doreen St. Felix seemed to like.
I think that's very important.
She was like, it wasn't like overly fetishized, and it seemed genuine
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And
And
it's
I think it's
about,
very
like,
important.
sexual health and wellness
It's
for
very
people.
important. Dude, that's
For sure.
What a beautiful thing.
As a second wave male feminist, I would expect nothing less from you.
I want more orgasms. That's it. I want. Yeah. No, I think it's very important. It's good. It's good to have that intimacy and to have that to like, you know, work on it a bit and.
But I do wonder about some of this like pseudoscience-y stuff, or like alternative medicine, alternative health, and all that.
Well, she has like
because
150 like lawsuits or some shit, didn't she?
well, yeah, there's a lot of people. Well, just because some of it comes into like branding. Like there was the thing that was supposed to help your uterine lining or something. You put like a pebble up your vagina and you clench it, and then it's supposed to help out.
Yeah, and then that was giving people
and then
like
people
some
were like, "This
infection?
is." I don't think it was giving people infections, but people were like, "This is bullshit."
Yeah, that's not real.
This
Okay.
is not. You're not advertising anything.
Oh, Gwyneth, you're so sweet. I don't know. She just looks like such a nice person, and I feel like these other con artists are just coming in and being like, just sell this. It's good. It's good. And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
Will it help them? Okay. Like, she's just such a sweetie. She's just
I
such a
don't know.
rich kid, sheltered
It's
rich
all
kid.
image, right? It's the image of it all, and how you market yourself.
Oh, you
how
think that
brand
she's just
yourself.
marketing it? No, I'm just saying I think she really
Well,
is.
no,
I
but
think
she
she's
does.
a sweet, sweet
It
rich
does
kid.
seem like the people on her show. There's a lot of like a lot of yes people, a lot of yes men and women.
That's part of the culture.
over
It's all
there.
positivity. You can't say no. That's negative. You have to say yes
No,
and.
but it's like it's unquestioning almost at a certain point.
Yeah, no,
it's
she's trying to
just-
run a different kind of an organization, though, too.
No, not really though, because there's still a bunch of sycophants and like people who are just gonna say, "Okay, yeah, sure, we're not gonna
Okay.
question it. We're gonna hype you up. We're gonna pump you up, push your vision." And you've already been winning. I'm just thinking like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is the point I'm trying to make with the alternative medicine. Because
Okay.
I told you, I go to the health food store before the doctor. You know, I'm going to the health food store before the doctor.
God is
However,
great. God is great.
yeah, I usually end up at the doctor at the at the end of it all. I usually probably got to just go to that.
You
I-
got to
I-
just go to that.
I go to my free health care.
STDs, go to the doctor.
Not even just STDs, just whatever, right? Like I've been having that burning sensation in my lower left side.
It's like I've been taking this homeopathic medicine for gonorrhea. Still have it. Weird. Weird. I started taking this. I started doing a chakra meditation for this HPV. Still
Yeah.
got it. Anyway,
The lemon juice and warm water is not
is not fixing.
is not, is not curing it.
They said it just burns out the gonorrhea. Guess
Yeah,
not. Okay.
apparently not. No, but it's just kind of like I do want. I'm interested in trying it and stuff like that. But does the packaging of it turn some people
Ooh.
off?
Okay.
And are you only doing it to hype yourself up, or do you really want everyone to kind of come on to this? And then are we trying to like influence the medical community? You know what I mean? Like, is that what we really have to do?
Yes,
You know?
psychedelic research maps. The people that she had from maps, that's their job. Their job is to make, because in the 60s, 70s, they made it all illegal, and it was like a big fight.
Right.
And Maps is a new organization. Is not new. They've probably been around for 15, 20 years at least. But like, they're an organization that is professionally, legally
Sure.
working on bringing this, because it's important work and it's scientifically backed now. Like, we're talking about people are quitting, and she mentions this. I mean, that's why the first episode. From the first episode to the article, I'm like, hey, man, she did all her research. She got everything backed up. Like, they're doing research showing that psilocybin, the sacred medicine, the Lord's shrooms, are getting people to quit smoking.
Right.
It's working. PTSD with MDMA, it's working.
Right.
Scientifically.
Got you
So
reading.
It got me reading. I'm reading. And, this if I could say one more thing about it, if there's
Yeah.
a difference between Joe and Gwyneth, is that Joe Rogan, I feel like part of his philosophy and the people he brings on a lot, the people he gets criticized for bringing on a lot, like the Jocko, the Goggins, the Jordan Peterson, all their philosophies are kind of this dominating, you got to win, you got to take it kind of mentality.
Right.
And it's damaging to America, I think. We touched on this a little bit with Kobe about, like, I get it, he's violent, but also we got to think about military, sports, like this is PTSD, like they're being, like, they have to be aggressive for so much that it's hard to turn it off, I feel like. And that's what the PTSD was kind of saying that too. He was saying in the Gwyneth Paltrow documentary that the PTSD, the soldier from Iraq, he's saying PTSD, it's only PTSD here. In the war zone, that's what keeps you alive. It's brilliant. Like, I mean, I never thought of it like that. Like, he's like, it's only PTSD when you get back, and everyone's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? He's like, well, there's not a bomb over there.
But
like,
you can't get out of it.
But the
Because
MDMA,
they say what some of the psychedelics do is they kind of reshift your focus, reshift your perspective, so that you're no longer in that cycle, in that loop.
yeah,
Things
they
like
call
that.
it. They say it's like pouring fresh powder on, like, because your brain, the way your habits and your and your like unconscious behaviors that you do, they're all like they're like it's like ski hills where there's like lines on it. And one guy, I think Michael Pollan or
Michael Pollan, How to Change Your Mind. Yeah,
How to Change Your Mind.
had that
He
book
talks
come out.
about this, and he says it's like when you do some of these sacred medicines, it's like dropping fresh powder on the snow, and you can rewrite
Right.
what you want your programming
Right.
to be.
Put the new tracks down.
Put the new tracks down, and put the tracks down that are helpful. And it seems to be working, and it
Mm-hmm.
seems to be scientifically backed, and it's complicated. But at some point, like life is complicated. Anyway, back to the first point that I was making, though. I feel like there's a Gwyneth Paltrow has. There's the philosophy shift from, let's say, the Joe Rogan side, which is you got to dominate yourself and then dominate your market or dominate on the court or whatever.
Right.
There's that mentality. I think it's damaging to the person doing it. It's damaging to other people. The Eastern philosophy, I've been reading a lot about Wu Wei.
You've been talking about the Wu Wei.
With the Wu Wei Wu, doing, non-doing,
Right.
flowing with nature.
Mm-hmm.
This is a philosophy that I think Gwyneth is more in line with. It's not about dominating.
Okay.
Not your nature, not out there. It's about, and the mushrooms, this is what I feel like the mushrooms kind of try to tell you too, is that you're operating within nature.
Right.
You have a community. You have nature. If you fight against it,
Yeah.
you can still win. You can
Yeah.
change the whole, but it's going to be 10 times the work, and it's going to hurt you, and then you got to turn around and hit someone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if you flow, it can be effortless. And I think Gwyneth is more on that line, maybe.
Okay.
And Joe Rogan is kind of too, actually. But like he talks to all those guys, but he is pretty cool himself, I think.
Yep.
But that's it. That's the only thing I'd say. If there was.
So you think it's better? It's better for the culture for it to be out there than for them to not talk about it, even if they're profiting off of it and all that stuff.
No, you got to, man. You got to play the game. She's playing the
Okay.
game. I think that's a little bit of like. First of all, it's like the thing about the white guy. It's like, why is the white guy doing it? What, you want to kill them? Like, what do you want? They're white and they're alive.
Yeah.
They're gonna do it's their heart's desire since they're 5.
I don't think it's necessarily negative. I don't know. I guess there's a lot of cynicism around it, and I don't
Yeah.
know if that's what we need right now. I don't know. So yeah, maybe it is. Hey, let's turn those rocks over. Let's see what we find.
Let's see what we find.
Okay.
Let's put those rocks in our vaginas and clench them and see. Hey, maybe it will work and
See
maybe
what-
not. I don't know.
Let's see what comes out. We're gonna talk about coronavirus. I mean,
I feel like we've covered a lot today.
I feel
You
we've covered
okay?
a
You're
lot.
coming off the train, Drew.
I was on the train.
You're coming off the train.
Yeah.
We were so very informative about this impeachment trial. I'm happy, baby.
I think we're good. Coronavirus
We'll
doesn't
get
look
you next
good.
week. It doesn't look good.
doesn't look good. I do have a thing that was like there was Ebola. It was coronavirus. It's SARS. Like it's. I understand the reason why, but I also think it can get like kind of frenzied with these coverage. But I understand the reason why you cover it and like you want people to be aware of it. But then it's at a certain point we're just kind of like, okay, are you just trying to like freak everyone out now? Like,
Oh, okay.
I don't know if
you're,
it's the
you're
end of the
worried about
world.
people being extra safe. I mean, hey, we're missing
Not extra
our,
safe,
We're
but
missing a
just
meditation class right
not
now.
extra safe, but just
We're
like
missing a meditation class right now because safety
It's true.
concerns due to
It's
that.
true.
Like they're not,
Yeah.
So it's it's one of those things where like, you just want to be careful, right?
yeah, you want to be careful. I don't know. I don't really have much to say on coronavirus. That was just one
That's
of the
it.
topics.
Yeah. So
but-
we can cover it next week. It's fine. If anything
Okay.
happens, hopefully we won't have to actually.
Well, Amish, this has been a great
This
episode.
has been lovely.
Yeah, I think it was very insightful. Anything to shout out? Any plugs?
Oh man! Right now, just follow my Instagram @FadeToBrown. I'm still figuring out what I'm gonna be doing this year. I have like some big shows coming up actually in Mississauga, in Brampton, and just in the GTA area. Like a lot of big shows.
Okay.
Mostly, I'm just working on this TV show, so it's hard to. I can't go on the road. I don't want to go on the road right now.
Okay.
But in the GTA, I'm here. I'm out here. A lot of shows coming up. But just follow my Instagram, and I just post about it on there.
I'm gonna be out of town, but my show is still happening at Laylo.
Laylo?
Laughs. Have a great comic Sam Burns guest hosting this week.
Sick.
So go check that out. Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Laylo Brewery, College in Dufferin. Great Trinidadian food, local craft brews, brewed in house. So check that out. This has been fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we will see you next week.
Bye
Bye-bye.
Let's come to an understanding. 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 Let's come to an understanding.